Hello everyone, it is Thursday evening. I've just seen my last selection, Long Room, go in to make it 3 winners from 6 selections today. Hopefully you got on. The ones that I gave that ended up turning out a little bit of profit, they were 2 at Thurles in the form of Emily Moon, which was 15 to 8 when I tipped it, ended up being backed into evens. Also, Eclat de Rire, however you pronounce it, which was 5 to 4 and backed into 6 to 5. And the last selection in the evening, in the 8:30 at Newcastle, was absolutely smashed. Was 10 to 1, 11 to 1 this morning. Hopefully you got that price, because it ended up being backed off the boards and going off at around 7 to 2 favourite. But yeah, that's 3 for today that obviously turned a bit of profit. Again, tomorrow it's only Friday racing. It's nothing, compared to what we're going to be having next week. It's nothing to write home about, but there's a load of horses that I like the look of. And again, I apologise. Get your pen, get a bit of paper. Make sure you make a note of these down. I'll run through them as quick as I can, as always. But anyway, they're all on the all-weather tomorrow across all 3 meetings on an artificial surface at Chelmsford, Dundalk and Wolverhampton. The first of which is in the first race at Chelmsford. It's in the 2 o'clock. And it's the top weight Cavellas. The horse is now, I think, £9 lower than its last winning mark. It's a course and distance winner. It's been knocking on the door in a couple of events. Even though it's aged 11, I think it's still got enough to give. David Probert jumps aboard, which I think is another positive. And I think at around 5 to 1 best price now, I think that's a decent shout for an each-way play. With, let me see how many runners there is. I think there's the 8 runners. So if the 8 still go to post, if you can get 5 to 1. For an each-way bet to nothing, for your money back if it places, I think that's a decent enough shout. Then we have to wait until the evening meetings. There's quite a few that I like at Wolverhampton. The first comes in the first race, the 5:30. The one here is another course and distance winner. It's I Love You Baby. Now, this horse is Michael Appleby's horse. It's won over course and distance on its debut. It's only had a handful of starts. I think this one is 11 to 1 at the moment. I think it's just an interesting shout. Annoyingly, there's only 6, so it makes each way terms a bit more tricky. Ideally, I'd have liked to see the 8 for the 3rd place. However, I'll be honest with you, it's a very speculative selection. It's speculative based on the fact that it ran in a Class 2 event last time. It did absolutely nothing in that Class 2 race. However, it now finds itself in a Class 5 race. Obviously a massive drop in class, and I think to have put it in a Class 2 event means that they would have seen something, or potentially they've put it in a bigger race with a view to bringing its mark down. Now they've dropped it 3 grades just as quick as that, and it's just an interesting thing to see that you don't see many horses do that go from Class 2 all the way down to a really poor race like this. And I think at 11 to 1, especially if you see a load of money come for this horse, that's going to be a very telling sign. So hopefully you can get that 11 to 1 as it is at the minute, with a view to potentially seeing quite a lot of money come for it later on when it gets nearer the race itself. Sticking at Wolverhampton in the next race, a horse that I really quite like the look of, and it was perhaps going to be, it was very close to being my nap of the day tomorrow and Friday, and it's Street Poet. It's not done much in terms of, anything this winter. I mean, you look through the form figures, the best it's finished in its last 6 runs is 9th, which, it's hard to be enthused about a horse like that. However, you look through the horse's statistics, and obviously you see its last win was over 7 furlongs here, which is the same trip, same ground, same course and distance that it's getting this evening. And when it won that race, that was all the way back in July of last year. It's obviously raced a lot since then. That was in a Class 4 race off a marker 71. We now find the horse dropped back down to 7 furlongs. And I mean, if you look through its races, the last time it ran over course and distance, it finished 4th of 12. And prior to that, it won. Since then, it's been racing over 1 mile 1 and 1 mile race. So I think the fact that it's dropped back to 7 furlongs is a big plus. Perhaps a bit of a telltale sign that tonight could be the night that it goes well. And also, That was, like I said, that was in a Class 4 event. This is now in a Class 6 race off a really attractive mark. Tom Eves booked for the ride, 5-1. Again, a really good bet if it's 12 runners. Obviously, going to pay the first 3, 5-1. Each way bet to nothing for your money to come back if it places. I can't see it being out of the first 3. Maybe that's the kiss of death, but Street Poet for me in the 6 o'clock at Wolves, definitely get on. Later on in the card in the 7:30, a horse that I actually tipped last time it was meant to race. However, it ended up being, to be honest with that day, I actually tipped it because Dougie Costello had gone to the meeting just to ride this horse. Unfortunately, they ended up doing a jockey change, and that put me off the horse completely. However, Dougie Costello's back on board Roller. It's a course victor. It's running off a mark of 65. Its last winning mark was a mark of 62, so it's only £3 higher. But that was at Wolves. I think this is a poorer race, albeit in the same grade. Than that, this is a poorer race than it won. I don't think that £3 rise is going to be too much to contend with. Mark Loughnane knows how to get a horse to win round here as well. 9-2 is perhaps a bit too short. Perhaps I've missed the price there. But again, an each way shout. Why not? Roller. And then the last one at Wolverhampton is the last race on the card. And I'm not really one for tipping 2 horses in the race. However, there's 2 horses that I've been waiting to come out. And I think their time is very, very soon. Both Orsaf and Dazakam they've put in decent performances without actually winning. They're both on really good marks now. One's going to be ridden by Franny Norton. The other one's ridden by Dougie Costello. Both around a similar price, 12-1 and 11-1 respectively. They both have course and distance wins to their name. They both have a decent handicap rating. And I just think one of them is due to go in soon. I would hate for anyone to miss the boat. It would be very, very small stakes, and I'm not really one for tipping 2 in a race. Unfortunately, they've both come out at the same time. Now, which one of them's day it is or night it is to win or to go close, I couldn't honestly tell you. So I'd rather say both of them and hope that one of them does than not say one of them and I get the wrong one. So that's Dazakam and Orsaf, each way shouts in the last race at Wolverhampton. Then we fly all the way over to Dundalk. They've obviously got their evening meeting where, if I grab my phone here, in the 5:15, which I think is the first race of the card, it's the 5:15. I think there's a horse that's ridiculously overpriced here. I'm going to double check the price. Now, if it's been smashed, I'll apologise for not getting this out sooner. Let's have a look here. So it's the 5:15 if I bring the best odds up here. Yeah, it's had a little bit of support, and it's Empire State. It's 16-1. Now, it's very, very rare that you're going to see a horse trained by Joseph O'Brien and ridden by Wayne Lorden at such a short price, especially in what's a pretty poor race. It was 22s or 25s earlier on in the day. But this is also a course and distance winner. It's also interesting to see that this horse hasn't been raced over 5 furlongs. Sorry, it's only been raced over tonight's course and distance once. And that was a pretty impressive win. That was off a mark of 84. It's now returning to its last course and distance, its last victory, off a mark of 73. It's Powerhouse Connections, Powerhouse Jockey, horse that's won around the course and distance, and is £11 lower than its last winning mark, and is such a ridiculously price at 16-1. That, unless it's missing a leg, I cannot fathom why it's that big a price. Especially with 9 runners paying the first 3. That's an absolutely cracking each way bet. If for the Racing Post I didn't have to give a selection to win, that would have been my bet of the day as an each way play. So that's Empire State in the first at Dundalk. Grab the price as quick as you can, because I can't see it going off at 16-1. Yes, obviously the top weight, Skeptical, that's a worthy favourite. It's odds on at 11-8, but we've seen odds on shots get turned over. Primo Uomo, 5-1 again. That's going to have a shout. As is stablemate Aloysius Lilius. But other than those 3, I can't see anything else that's worth backing. And obviously they're only going to pay the first 3 out. But if one of those falters, I think Empire State has more than enough ability to be able to sweep that up. Also, it's one of the youngest horses in the race. It's a 4-year-old. Well, in fairness, they're all pretty much a similar age. But they've got, he's not had a hard campaign this winter. So he's going to have a bit of room to improve, unlike some of the others, I think, as well. So yeah, Empire State, cracking each way bet. And last but not least, so also at Dundalk, we are looking at the 7:45. So it's the third from last race. And it's a horse trained by Conor O'Dwyer, ridden by Tom Madden, called Pulsating. Now, the horse had been really, really poor of late. However, it's interesting to see that last time the horse won, it was when Tom Madden was on board. Now, Tom Madden's only ever ridden it once since then, and it was a relatively decent effort, to be fair. But since its success, which was way back in October 2018, of a mark of 67, runs of a mark of 53. That's obviously £14 lower. He's recently changed trainer as well to Conor O'Dwyer, so I'm hoping that a change of scenery might do it a bit of good. Again, it's a very speculative shout. Current price or best odds here is, let's have a look, it's around 10-1. It's had a little bit of support then in that case, and I just think that this horse has enough to get there or thereabouts in what's a really, really poor race. Most of the horses here have telephone number style, reams of form, and I think anything could probably win it. But I just think Pulsating still has a little bit left in the tank. At the age of 6, has a bit more experience, has a course win to its name. Change of trainer might do it good. Potentially see a bit of a rise in form, a bit of a bounce, and Pulsating for me. Again, they're really speculative horses tomorrow. There's horses that I think have good each way chances. So it's certainly not a go all in, trying to build up that Cheltenham bank balance. It's speculative, small stakes efforts tomorrow for Friday. Again, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for sharing, liking. As always, really appreciate your support. Hopefully the good run of form continues. We'll be able to get a decent price winner. Fingers crossed. And as always, good luck if you follow.